1980s, the state of Jammu and Kashmir, now a union territory, adopted the hangul or the Kashmir red stag or the Kashmir red deer as its state animal. The aim was to provide the necessary protection to the animal whose numbers had drastically decreased over the years. The hangul is a subspecies of the Central Asian red deer that today is found only in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, that too only in the Dachigam National Park and its surrounding areas. Prior to independence, the hangul numbered in thousands, but extensive hunting over the years reduced its numbers to only a few hundreds by the time India became independent. Even after that, threats continued, although hunting somewhat decreased because of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Habitat fragmentation and degradation and loss plagued hangul populations. Along with that, there was overgrazing of livestock of nomadic herders. The Kashmir conflict further aggravated the situation because many people who once lived in other areas now started migrating to places where hangul lived and leaving them little space to graze and to have their own lives. So the hangul population kept decreasing. There were some periods of increase because of the protection provided, but the numbers never recovered well enough to have a stable population. And then predation pressures also increased because leopards, snow leopards and Himalayan black and brown bears numbers also increased, and because the hangul were now restricted to smaller habitats, they became more traceable by the predators. Hangul fawns became particularly susceptible, because of which today the hangul fawn to female ratio is very low. So is the male to female ratio, which is low, and the skewed sex ratio and the low fawn to female ratio results in a longer generation time of this deer. So all these factors together make it a very complex situation and very difficult to save the hangul. As of 2021, when the last census was conducted in Dachigam, the hangul population was only 261, which is quite shocking and quite sad. And although it was a slight increase from the previous figure of 237, it still is not enough to ensure that the hangul will survive into the future. If we lose this animal, it would be definitely a shame for us as Indians and for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. To save the species, we need to unite. We need to get together and take immediate, quick action to protect it. Otherwise, we'll again have to go back and bring it back from some other country, and of course we won't get the same subspecies like the case of the cheetah. We definitely don't want to do that. We must preserve what we have, and we have protected a national animal well. Gujarat has protected the lion, its state animal well. Assam has protected the rhino. So it is not impossible to protect the hangul as well, because all these animals whose numbers are now steadily increasing, once numbered only in few hundreds. So it is possible to save the hangul if we definitely take immediate united action. Wishing the hangul a very, very long life. Thank you.